Hey guys, welcome to another episode of my series My Best Games, and today I would like to analyze with you the game myself, Niclas Huschenbeth, against Jan Gustafsson, played in 2011 in the German Championship. And this game has quite a nice story to it. So Jan Gustafsson is known as a very good opening player with a lot of knowledge in the theory, opening theory, and especially in e4, e5, he's just very knowledgeable. And I always play e4, so it was quite expected that he would answer with e5. But priorly to the tournament, he published a DVD where he pretty much presented his whole opening repertoire with black against e4. So he showed everything, e5 and all the lines against Ruy Lopez, all the side lines, he just covered everything. So before the tournament I already prepared against the five strongest players of the tournament. I also prepared against him, and it took me forever to find something really where I could play for an advantage, but then I found quite a tricky variation. And we'll see what I did in this game. And unbelievable, it just worked out perfectly. It worked out better than I could imagine, really. Okay, let's have a look. Knight f3, knight c6, and now I played bishop c4, bishop c5, and I played the evens gambit here with b4, named after an old, well, not maybe not old, but named after a captain, Larry Evans. Bishop takes b4, c3, now bishop e7. So we're still following his recommendation on his DVD, and we're following it for quite a long time. Because I had all the information, so I knew exactly what he probably would play. And the mistake he pretty much did, that he just said, okay, I trust my repertoire and I trust it's good enough and I will play it and I will find the right moves on the board. So d4, and here black has to play accurately. d6 would be a mistake already because of queen b3, and black cannot really protect this guy on f7 in any convenient way. So knight to a5 is the right move, bishop e2, and here the lines after e takes d4 are a little bit tricky for black. So a solid alternative here is simply to play d6, give back the pawn here, and we just reach a pretty much equal position. Of course, a lot of playing potential in the game, but objectively speaking, it's just equal. So he played e takes d4, following his recommendation still, queen takes d4, and now d5. There was a famous game which kind of, how do you say this, relived the evens gambit, because Kasparov played this line against Anand, and he also had great compensation here for the pawn after the following moves, queen g3, g6, castle, and white is enjoying a space advantage and also a lead in development, which gives him good compensation for the pawn. But d5. Yeah, now we will definitely reach the line he had discussed in his DVD, and it's becoming tricky for him, definitely. So I was quite happy to see that on the board. If I simply take the pawn here on d5, and black develops and he doesn't have any problems. So the critical try is queen takes g7. Bishop f6. Queen g3, d takes e4. And this variation he only discussed very briefly. Obviously you cannot go into detail in every sideline, so he only looked at knight to g5 here, which is not good for white. And I had a look, and the computer showed an alternative here, which is knight to d4. So I was still in the middle of my opening preparation here. There was one game where black continued with bishop d7, but white can obtain an advantage here after knight d2, knight c6, knight takes e4, knight takes d4, c takes d4, bishop takes d4, and now bishop g5, and you can see the black king is feeling quite unsafe, and white is leading in the development and is enjoying a very nice position. But Jan played the right move. He played knight to e7, and now knight b5, and now it's a critical position, and the right move is quite difficult to find for black. So I was hoping he would not find it, because the move he played looks natural, but it's bad. So this was exactly my trap. I hoped he would go for the natural move, and then suddenly an attack would develop out of nothing for me. This is exactly what happened. So if you would like to try yourself to find the move which keeps equality in the position for black. So I'm obviously threatening to take on c7. So, okay, I will show it now, so if you don't want to see the solution yet, then please press stop. So it's just natural to play knight d5, but it's wrong. It's just wrong. And then I will be better. Knight a6, unbelievable, is working here for black. And what is the idea? The idea is that now after knight takes c7, black can take with the queen. And now my queen is trapped, so he will get my queen now, and after queen takes e5, knight takes e5, knight d2, bishop f5, f3, knight to d3, bishop takes e3, knight c4, and now another accurate move here, bishop e6, the position is equal. So it was just, that was perfectly fine for me, because I knew, okay, in the worst case, I will have an equal position, and maybe it will end up in a draw. So I didn't really have any risk, and yeah, my opponent was also clearly stronger than me, 2600, I think 30 ELO rating, and at this time I was about 2510. So a draw wouldn't be the worst result, obviously, right? But he didn't play knight a to c6. He played knight d5, and what was the whole idea here? I'm immediately pushing forward with c4. And it looks crazy. I mean, it looks just crazy to open up this diagonal and just leave my rook hanging, but it's just this combination of threats against c7 as well as the weak king, which gives the advantage here to white. And you don't want to play this position here with black, knowing that your opponent is in the middle of his opening preparation, that he knows almost everything about this position, and it's just so unpleasant to play, so unpleasant. And we can look at some example lines here. He played a6, which is fine. So let's have a quick look at what happens if black just takes the rook. C takes d5, and now black doesn't have any way to protect his pawn on c7. King e7, knight takes c7, rook b8, and now d6, and black is just hopelessly weak on the black squares. So for example, he can't take here because of bishop a3, and well, his king is under attack, and it's just horrible, horrible, horrible here for black. Yeah, it looks like if he's just losing immediately. So that doesn't work at all. So bishop d7 may be another option, but now knight 1 to c3, bishop takes b5, and now knight takes d5. And let's have a look at some lines here as well. Bishop takes a1, knight takes c7, king d7, bishop g4. It's just all pieces of white are perfectly working together and creating threats against the black king. King e7, bishop a3, king f6, knight d5, and the black king cannot escape all the checks and will be mated, or black will lose a lot of material. As well as in this position, if not bishop takes a1, but bishop takes c4, then knight takes c7, king d7, and now bishop g5, a very strong move, opening up the rook to come to the d file. And after queen takes c7, rook d1, king c6, bishop takes f6. Black is not having a completely lost position at least, but he's still clearly worse here. But, well, that's not too bad at least, yeah. Alright, so a6, and I still had this prepared at home. C takes d5, a takes b5, and now the next knight is coming. The next knight is just coming and is planning to go to b5 and also sometimes threatening to take on e4. And I say we do a short break here, and I will see you in part 2 of this game, Huschenbeth against Gustafsson. See you then.